What's up, everybody? This is the Pollard podcast. I am your host, Bernard Pollard, and my co-host, Alex Pollard. Now, we thank you for tuning in with us today, but before we go and get started with everything, I want you to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pollard podcast. Go to our Twitter and like our Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Pollard_podcast and IG at Pollard2Pollard. That's the number 2_podcast. Alex, what is up, nephew?
What's up, guys? You know, we're back for another week. You guys have been gone now for a week, just kind of getting back into things. Red Tide's starting to pick back up again. You guys didn't really get to see much of that, but it's getting pretty bad now. There's some big fish, manatees, dolphins, all kinds of stuff rolling up.
Dude, so it's crazy because your mom sent the picture in our group text, and she showed all the fish that was on land, and I was just like, wow. So I figured it had gotten worse. So yeah, that's crazy. I just don't. It's so weird to me that out of all these years y'all been there, this is the first time I've heard about red tide. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I guess, and it's pretty bad this time. You know, like I've seen a couple aerial pictures where it looks like there's like almost like just a white glare on the water, but it's actually just like a stream of dead fish.
Wow.
And they're just like kind of like that just because they're caught in the current. They're all moving the same direction, but it's just all dead fish. It's pretty bad.
Dang. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I'm still high right now, and I'm not high off weed. I'm not. I don't smoke, guys. I'm not condemning anybody who smokes. If you want to smoke and you want to be high and out your mind, go ahead. But I'm high because I finally won a race. I got P1. Last night, I went to Twitter at CrushBoy31 on Twitter, and I won a truck race. Now, Alex, I'll talk to you about this, and it's been a crazy week for me. I raced in a league race on Monday. The races before that, throughout the weekend, race after race after race. I think I raced 7 races in New Hampshire, and literally
those were pretty bad.
Yes, I wrecked every single race. Now, I didn't wreck. I was wrecked by other people, and the race on Monday night, I actually was wrecked. But we had a fast repair. So now, for all of our new listeners, iRacing, now this is something I've gotten to NASCAR last year, found out about iRacing. I got into iRacing last year, and I haven't been consistent on it. This year I'm finally consistent on it. It's a racing game, so you do NASCAR and other race cars on this platform, and you can race through PC. It's not Heat or anything like that for PlayStation or Xbox, but it's for the PC. Now, I have a simulator, a rig in my office, and I love this game. I really do. And I finally, like I said, got P1 yesterday in trucks at the iRacing Super Speedway. So it's 23 laps. I mean, we got up to 234 miles an hour, drafting and pushing and doing things like that. And like I said, it's so exciting for me because I have never, I think I've gotten P2 once. I've gotten top 5 once. I've gotten top 10 twice. And out of all of this, I finally get P1. So I was screaming. And Alex, you had said something on Twitter. Would you say weird? Or something like that.
I said weird.
Yeah. So somebody jumped down your throat for that one. But as far as what I went through, you have talked trash about me or talk trash to me, saying how you can come and compete in this game. What was that like? You finally said, did you see the video?
Yeah, I saw the video.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there is kind of a common denominator here with all these crashes. You're the common denominator. I don't think there's people out just headhunting you. So something's a little off there.
Look, they're wrecking me.
People are loading into races and saying, "All right, let's see if we can go wreck that 31 car today."
Y'all, I have video, and Alex, you've seen the video. I've showed you the video of
Yeah,
people
there have
wrecking
been a
me.
few that are just very unfortunate. He's just in the wrong spot. But I mean,
Yo,
I guess that's not a problem if you just run at the front the whole time.
okay.
You just
Well,
gotta stay away.
so y'all gonna hear the trash talk. Alex is. I mean, we'll see at some point if he ever gets his pedal and his pedals and his wheel. It's gonna be a lot of trash talking, but I'm super excited because, I mean, once again, and for everybody that's been listening, you know, I love this sport. I fell in love with this sport. This game allows me, like, you know, Alex and I, my brother-in-law, both my brother-in-laws. We got another brother-in-law coming in potentially to play. My boy's gonna be playing. A couple of my boys gonna be playing. We playing a franchise, a league in Madden for football. I love playing video games. I love playing against actual users. I mean, I'll play against computer as well. But with iRacing, I get a chance to race people, real people, and it's so much fun. And I'm the type where I want to be able to. This is a great. I mean, it's an addicting game. It's an addicting hobby. It can be expensive, but I tell a lot of people. I end up talking to a former. I think he's a former player, if I'm not mistaken, but a former player last night. And I mean, I'm trying to tell all kind of former players. One of my teammates, old teammates, Rashard Barksdale, who was my boy. That's my dog. I ride with that dude. He's going to be getting the game. He actually got his wheel and his pedal today. So he's waiting for his his PC. So I'm excited because I want to get as many former players on this. I want to get as many, people on this game. If you stepped away from the game, come back to it. It is so much fun. Racing and competing. I love competing. I love racing. I don't want to go out and actually get into a car. I don't ever want to do that. So for everybody that keep telling me to do ride-alongs and things of that nature, I don't want to. I don't want it. I don't want to. I'm scared. There you go. I told you out loud. It came out of my mouth. I am scared. Why? Because I'm not in control. So I just don't trust it. I mean, Alex, would you do a ride along?
Maybe.
So you were hesitant. Maybe. Why are you hesitant? Why the maybe?
I mean, just like the same reason. I mean, it's 200 miles an hour is kind of fast. So
hey, kind of fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want no part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no part. It would definitely be fun. I would consider it.
I think I do. I think once I get in the car and once we get going, I would be terrified. I'm afraid of peeing on myself, and I'm seriously I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid. I don't think I'll boo-boo on myself. I don't think I'll lose control like that. But I do think them turns and everything else. I think the pee gonna come. It's gonna come out, and I can't deal with that. Telling my kids at 36 years old I peed on myself in a car because we were going fast. Like I just that doesn't go together. So, and then I'm afraid of potentially them tires being worn and then we slide up the track and hit the wall or something like that. But I don't know. But as we continue to talk about racing, I got my P1 for the first time. I was able to go to a track here in Nashville, Tennessee, Nashville Fairgrounds, if I'm not mistaken, and watched the SRX. Now, once again, I'm new to all of this, even though I came in last year. I was just talking to somebody on Twitter. Even though I've gotten a year under my belt, right, this is all still new to me. I mean, you guys have seen all the breaking news with drivers going to different teams and being part owners and this and that. How that's happening in the middle of the season and all that other stuff, that's for another episode. But I mean, this is crazy. I'm learning every time I watch NASCAR. I'm learning something new. Every time I get on iRacing, I'm learning, something new. So with SRX, I don't know. I mean, it's bad that I can't tell you what SRX means, right? But I'm finding about all these different levels in racing. And I mean, to me, Xfinity and then Truck Series, I thought that was it. But it's you have all these other levels with this, and SRX was awesome. This track at the fairgrounds track was so much fun. Thank you, SRX, the SRX team. Everybody involved with that. It was Alex. We went. So it was Jalen and I, and we went with my boy Neil and his son. Now Neil's last name is Duthie, but I call his son Duthie. Um, Duthie is my boy. Oh my gosh, he's my white son, and I have two. I have a lot of kids that I have adopted, but Duffy and Jake are my white sons. Just awesome kids. But we went to the race. We parked and it was a load. I mean, the fan base is crazy. This joint is packed out. We get there. It's funny because I'm taking pictures with fans, and we we walk to the infield, and it's a different feel from NASCAR, and obviously the financial backing is different, and we're at the race, and they sent me to the hospitality trailer in the middle of the infield, and that was cool. The air conditioner had actually went out when we stepped in, but
no.
yeah, the generator went out, but the generator will come back on. It ended up coming back on, and they had food, and Jalen wanted to grab some food, and we ended up getting some bottled waters. They had some pecan pie. Now I didn't know people say pecan or pecan pie. How do you say it?
I kind of say it both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just like depends on the context. I don't say it that much because I don't like them. So
yeah. I actually like pecan pie. And dang, I think I might have said it different.
I probably say pecan more.
Oh, pecan. Okay, so yeah, pecan pie. However, whatever.
I don't know.
They had pecan pie. Just the desserts was awesome. But just those cars, those drivers. Chase Elliott and his dad was racing each other. I was right before that race. They had two heats. I believe it was two heats. So I was standing next to Chase and his dad, and I'm one of them people. I don't like bothering people, right? Like I'm standing next to Chase and his dad, and I just honestly wanted to say, hey, how y'all doing? Want to take a pic or whatever? But then at the same time, I was just like, ooh, I'm bothering them. And Tony Stewart was out there. And I'm like, like it'd have been weird for me to be like, hey, Tony, I'm an Indiana boy. You an Indiana boy? And then he'd have been like, Crete. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Yeah. So, so I just kind of, stood. We stood over there a little bit. Then we walked over by the pits. Now, y'all, look, SRX was awesome. The drivers was freaking amazing. They put on a show, both heats, chasing his dad, chasing winning the race. Them dudes are freaking phenomenal. But I got to tell you, we laughed so hard. I told Neil we took pictures down by the pits, and as the cars were going by, this was just a different feel. The pit crews are a lot different. You don't have a lot of the athletic, and once again, the funding and everything else. You don't have a lot of those athletic bodies running around, getting the cars up. The sense of urgency, if I may say, the sense of urgency wasn't the same as far as doing things, working on the car during pit stops. One of the guys was smoking a cigarette on at the pit crew, and I'm looking like, bro, like, wait, you got to fill this car up with gas, right? Like, if something go wrong,
yeah,
like so. We laughed at that, but I mean, once again, it was just awesome, an awesome experience, and Alex, we've talked about it before. I didn't get an opportunity to do this when my son's 13. At 13 years old, I knew nothing about this, and so at 13, I get an opportunity to take my son to this race, to show him that this is fun. If you want to be a driver, if you want to be in the pit crew, if you want to learn about cars, if you want to own a team, whatever it may be, man, this is it's awesome. You can do it, And Eric Moses, got a chance to see him runs the track over, out here in Nashville, and just an awesome time. You saw my video that I put up. What did you think about the? I think I put a little video up about the cars going by. Did you know anything about SRX? I doubt it because you didn't know anything about NASCAR.
Okay, yeah. No, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, it looked cool. You could definitely kind of tell the difference, even just in your little videos, between that type of race and a NASCAR race, just
right.
The whole environment and everything. But yeah, it looked pretty cool. I thought it was cool that Chase Elliott and his dad were racing against each other.
Yeah.
It's like that's probably not something you'll see at a NASCAR race ever. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. If I remember correctly, I believe at one point, Dale and his dad raced against each other.
Oh, they did?
And so, I think that's just an awesome feeling to be able to race against your pops. A very important piece, of you coming into this world and to be able to learn from your father and then, just the different tricks and like that of the game, and then now you actually get to take that and apply it and then race him. I think that's just so cool. But I think too, it shows, and we talked about Kyle Larson. Is many different things that he's doing in different type of cars. Kyle Larson and a lot of other drivers, they just race dirt. They race, other cars, midgets or things like that. I think this is just this is a test to what they do. I mean, I mean, we see how skilled they are, right? And so, I mean, that's a compliment, man. Like they're able to do all these different things, and then once again, Chase races on Sunday, and now he has to fly to New Hampshire to race the very next day. So, I mean, as we, kind of transition to our next topic, man, this was awesome. I watched the race. I got a chance to watch it, and I tweeted about it. I thought it was awesome to be able to see because to rewind, to go back to the SRX race, I talked to one of the drivers that got out of his car after the first heat, and he had Pedialyte. Now, I'm a Pedialyte drinker. When I'm working out, when
Oh,
I'm doing different
yes.
things, when I play football, Pedialyte was in my bottles on the sideline. That's what I drank. Um, to stay hydrated, because I cramped a lot. But I'm watching these guys do that, and knowing and understanding that Chase competed. It was hot. It wasn't real hot, but it was hot. And then to come back to New Hampshire and be there, dude, that is freaking amazing. And he was leading for a little bit, but I think the big story about the New Hampshire track. Now that was a track that I was wrecked a lot in. I don't care if I was the common denominator. Like I was wrecked. But looking at that story with Aric Amirola, like after you watch that, after you know what this driver has been through, I want to get your opinion on that. But I've got a chance to watch him on YouTube, his family. This is just a good. I mean, I think he's a good dude. I don't know him. I'm going off of what I've seen, but you know what he's gone through. We've talked about it. What does that say? Testament for him as far as winning this race in New Hampshire.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's definitely really cool to see him win the race. And I just finished watching the clips of like towards the end of the race earlier, and I mean, you could tell like the fact that he wasn't in the playoffs, but then going back and watching how he won this race, like I mean, he's just had like an unfortunate season.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the way he just kind of worked his way up towards the end of that race was crazy.
Yeah.
I just watching and I mean, it was over a long stretch of time. I mean, like I think he had to make moves ever since there was maybe 150 laps left. Starting to get up there.
Yeah.
Just I think that's what it said when I was watching the clips. But I mean, it was really just like good driving from what I could tell. I mean, I don't know a lot about it,
Right.
but I mean, and I think the at the end he was up there with it was him and Brad, right? Up there that he
Yeah.
passed
They.
last
Yeah.
week.
They. Yeah. They were. They were. Yeah. They were going at it for
They
a
were going
while.
back and forth. Yeah. Yeah. And that one, I mean, even then, like I know they were up there. One of the clips where he's moving up, Bubba Wallace was up there. There was another car, so they were lapping people. So, there was a lot of traffic. I mean, it was a good win for him.
Yeah.
And now he's in the playoffs for right now. I mean, I don't think there's really any way he can drop out.
Right.
Um, but I mean, and I actually, the funny thing is, so I've said that I've never really watched NASCAR. However, last year I do remember like seeing bits and pieces of him driving.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, he was up there. He was like, consistently top 10. Like when I was watching, like he was one of those guys up there competing, staying in the pack. and then he's just kind of fallen off a little bit this year. But then he got the win. That was pretty cool to see, and it was an interesting, like finish to the race because there weren't a lot of like the normal names that we see up there.
Right.
Alex Bowman was what, ninth, I think. Kyle Larson down in seventh. So I mean, like they're still top 10, but they were a little bit farther down the line this time.
Yeah.
Which could have been moving into our next discussion with Kyle Busch. I was watching an interview that he did after he was out of the race, and he's saying that it was raining and there's a bunch of mist and stuff. That could have definitely affected how this race ended up. Obviously, for him, didn't turn out very well. But I think it's interesting to see factors like that, and then that still brings me back to my Kyle Larson argument. I think
What do you have against Kyle Larson?
I don't have anything against it, but I mean, and like that one person on Twitter was like, Kyle Larson's gonna win it all. I'm like, I think for him, conditions have to be perfect. He can't. I mean, there can't be restarts and things for people to get back into it. He just has to be able to push his car hard. I think that's how he wins his races. He needs good conditions to push his car hard. And I'm not saying he's bad at all. He finished seventh, but it was still a different race. That's just me. That's what I think for him. For him to win a race, I think it has to be perfectly suited towards him being able to push his car as hard as he can.
Well, I look at this. I look at this, Alex, and Aric Amirola, once again. I mean, he is just. I mean, one of those dudes that's just pure, right? I believe that's my opinion on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once again, guys, I don't know him, but from what I'm seeing, what I've seen, I mean, the dude is just awesome. It has been hell for him this year, and I think we all know that.
Just a little bit,
right? If we've been watching, if you've been watching, it's been bad. This dude's been wrecking. His car hasn't been, up to par. He has been driving well. It's just been just thing after thing after thing, and everything aligned, I believe, on Sunday. And yes, to go back, what you talked about, talking about Kyle Busch, man, like I don't. It's racing. Like yes, in football, if it rains, we're gonna play. If it's thunder and things of that nature, yeah, they're gonna get people out of the stadium or whatever. But if it's lightning, but if it's raining, we play. In racing, a lot of the racers say we should not be on the track if rain is coming down. Now, for a lot of you,
I feel like that makes sense,
right? So for a lot of the fans that believe, hey, I back what Kyle Busch has said. We watched him spin out. He lost control of the car. He spun out, and once again, we've talked about it before on here, where people call this dude a dickhead. They don't like him. They say he's a jerk. But I mean, he says what's on his mind. People may not like that. I believe in this sport, if you want to get the best out of the drivers, should they be racing in rain? Probably not. I mean, I don't know, because if they were running around the track on their own, which becomes track and field, then that's on them. But they're relying on a machine, that car, those wheels, and then they're on a surface that they can't help. Their skill set, their skill level only goes so far. That machine, they were relying on that machine, and I do believe they probably should have stopped the race. And I know a lot of guys were complaining and chattering over the headsets and everything else. So I agree with him. And I mean, we talked about his interview where, he's like, yo, I want to say some stuff, but I'm gonna get fined. Because we all know he tapped, he went to go tap the pace car. Now, I do want to talk about that, because tapping the pace car, that's essentially an official that's on the track. So in football, if you touch the official,
that's a flag
in that
right
manner,
away.
that's a fine, and you kicked out of the game. So it's crazy to me how, he wasn't fined. And I don't want to say I'm calling for a fine, but I'm just talking about the differences, in the difference in sports on what they allow and don't allow. That's just that blows my mind, because if I'm pissed off and angry and I go to touch the official out of my anger and saying things, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's might be a $60,000 or $70,000 fine plus the next week. You're suspended the next week, so that's a whole game check. So if you're getting paid weekly at certain teams, that's your entire game check, right? And I just can't. I've never been fined a whole game check. I've been fined $120,000 for a hit on Justin Gage. I remember hit him in his ribs, and they fined me $120,000 because they said he was a defenseless receiver. And I'm just looking like, what? And I wanted to snap off at the ref so bad. I remember pointing at him, and Mr. McNair was just like, he was talking to me. He was like, hey, Bernard, I want you to stop pointing at referees. And so I think about that now when I go to point at people, or if I'm debating or arguing, I go to point and remember Mr. McNair telling me about that. And so it's just one of those things where I'm like, this dude did not get fined for getting back and tapping the official, essentially. He's the official. He or she, I couldn't remember if it was a man or I believe it was a man in the car, but like, that was nuts to me watching that. Like, what did you think about that?
Well, so the funny thing is I didn't watch the race, but I saw that clip on Twitter. But whoever had posted it on Twitter, it was on like a Barstool account or something. So they didn't say who it was. So I didn't know that it was him, and I was like, oh wow, like what race am I watching where this guy is running into the pace car? And then you brought it up, and I was like, wait, that was Kyle Busch in the NASCAR race?
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane. Like, I thought it was something more like that SRX race that you went to, where the guy doesn't even care. Like, go ahead, find me or do something. Like, I'm mad. And I didn't know like any of the context behind it. I was like, why is he running into the pace car? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Because that was crazy. Like, it didn't even cross my mind that anybody would ever like consider touching the pace car.
Well, I think
I don't even know like where that even comes from.
Well, I mean, that's frustration, and I mean,
well, right, yeah, I mean, I guess I know it comes from frustration, but like,
right,
like I don't even, I like just like when you're frustrated in a car, I wouldn't think to run into another car because that would hurt me as well. Well, but I mean, obviously, he just tapped the car, which is different.
Correct, but I think where it comes from, I think because he's saying we shouldn't be out here. Other race car, I remember Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
I believe it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was last year. But Kevin Harvick came out, publicly and was just like, we shouldn't be doing some of this stuff. Like, we shouldn't be. It was, I think, it was it was a rain, or it was raining, and Kevin Harvick was just like, yo, we shouldn't even be out here. It's not safe for our drivers. And, once again, their skill set is their skill set, but they're relying on a machine to allow their skill set to come out. So I think that's where the frustration where Kyle Busch went, and he knew, I mean, these guys know their cars. Some of these, I think most of the drivers build cars, so they know those cars inside and out. So he know the way he hit and everything else, because Martin Truex Jr. was involved in a little bit of it. They chipped a little bit of Alex Bowman's car. But I think these guys know when they are done. And I think he knew he was done. He wouldn't be able to, his car would not allow him to compete in that race. I don't care how good he is. I know a lot of people say he's the best driver with very little. I don't think he could have got it done with that car. And I think he knew he couldn't get it done with that car because of the way he wrecked and hit. It was parts that was just, unfixable. So, I think that's where the frustration comes in. And I think it's right. I think his frustration is justified as far as tapping the pace car. I think, now we're looking at, we argue about the safety of the drivers racing in rain. Well, now we have, I don't know how skilled this pace car driver is, but now you start tapping him from the back.
The pace car is going to spin out.
Right, so you start tapping him from the back, and he or she spin out, or they hit the wall. So now we talking about their safety. So it's just a crazy thing. I 100%, I understand his frustrations. I really do. And I didn't even think about this. So as we once again move forward, we talking about Kyle Busch's frustrations, him being upset. We're moving to football. And once again, guys, we're gonna talk racing. We're gonna talk volleyball. We're gonna talk basketball. We're gonna talk football. We're gonna talk so many different things. I mean, this is our podcast. We want to laugh. We want to bring joy. We want to bring smiles. And we're gonna talk sports. We're gonna talk life, right? But as we move to football, the disgruntled Aaron Rodgers. What are you reading on that? What are you hearing? And I mean, coming from a fan's perspective, and I mean, I guess I'm kind of a fan too, but I've been in the locker room, so you know, it's a different perspective. But what are you?
So you're
hearing
more of
about
a
that?
player than a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, and I've kind of like seen this for a while. Like as a fan, I just feel like the Packers have basically just disrespected Aaron Rodgers. And now this contract offer that they gave him to make him the highest paid player over the next 5 or whatever years was like a oh, we're sorry. Here, we'll try and fix it with some money. And I mean, so my thing is I believe that, the arguments that, oh, well, the offense is good enough because they're putting up all these numbers just comes from Aaron Rodgers like being that good. Because then they go out and draft another quarterback to put behind their kind of old but MVP level quarterback. Like that's just like a slap in the face to me. I mean, I don't know what that would look like as a player, but as a fan watching that, I could see how he would be very frustrated with the organization when they can't get him a solid number 2 receiver or a tight end that can stay with the team for more than 2 years. And I mean, they have Aaron Jones now, which is definitely good, but like the time in between Eddie Lacy and Aaron Jones, they had nothing going on in the backfield, and that's when they had, 3 average to subpar receivers with Devontae Adams and the tight end carousel that happened there, But I mean, like to me, that's just Aaron Rodgers making plays. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be able to heave that 60-yard Hail Mary to Richard Rodgers that Aaron Rodgers did. I mean, obviously it's a good catch and whatever, but to me, Richard Rodgers isn't a quality tight end. So I don't think that they're doing anything to help him, and they still haven't. I mean, they didn't go out and draft anything to help him.
Right.
So he's just having to try to put up those numbers with what he has, which he has, a few quality pieces around him. But as we've seen, he's lost a lot of NFC Championship games, and a lot of, a lot of games right before the NFC Championship where the NFC Championship he probably would have won, but he had a tougher matchup the round before, and I mean, he can only do so much. I think he's, well, not I think, not I think. I would say easily Aaron Rodgers is the top 3 quarterback in the league right now, but he's just a quarterback. He can only do things that a quarterback can do. He can't run the ball for the team. He can't go run a route as a number 2 or 3 receiver. He can't block as a tight end and be able to run routes as a tight end. Like, I mean, they're not helping him. I think he's gone a little far with how long, he's held out and just like completely ignored the organization and everything. He's like, yeah, I'll figure it out later. But I mean, at the same time, like, I feel like he's almost kind of earned that. Like, he's almost that good to where, like, I feel like he has the ability to say, like, look, I'm not going to play if you're not going to help me. Because to me, him turning down this contract offer, it's not about the money for him. Like, he wants to win. So if he's not going to win, then he's not going to play for them. And he'll figure out a way to get somewhere where he's going to be able to win.
Well, okay. So I do agree with a lot of what you said. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers is a top 3 quarterback in the National Football League. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers earned say. And when I say he earned, say he needs to be heard, right? I am different when it comes to a lot of the stuff that's going on. I mean, I've been asked. A lot of people have asked me, "Hey, Bernard, if you were playing, still in the NFL, would you kneel during the national anthem?" No. Why wouldn't you kneel? Because if I want to talk about issues, if I want people to hear about issues, then I open my mouth. I get it. I'm not saying what players have done is wrong, but the way I feel, I think people would hear you better, or they'll hear it better if you articulate it. To me, that's just something I wouldn't do. I wouldn't kneel. I look at this situation, and no, I wasn't a quarterback. I'm not a quarterback in the National Football League, and I believe Aaron Rodgers has a right to be upset. Does he have a right? He has 5 years remaining on his deal, correct? 4 or 5 years.
Three.
Yes.
It was a
3 years.
They
extension.
offered him a 2-year extension. Yeah.
So he has 3 years left on his deal. He owes that to his teammates. I believe he owes that to his teammates to be there. And I believe where everything went wrong with the Green Bay Packers, with Aaron Rodgers and management, is when they fired Mike McCarthy in 2018. McCarthy. When they fired Mike McCarthy in 2018, they dropped to 4-7-1, and I don't believe he should have been fired. He was 113 years in as the Green Bay Packers head coach. He won a Super Bowl. 125, 77, and 2 was his record. 10 and 8 in the playoffs. There were a lot of other head coaches that could have been fired from their organizations, and I get it. The Green Bay Packers are a different organization from every other organization. But to fire Mike was a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers. That's a guy who he's been with for a long time. So I want everybody to understand, when you look at this, it happens in high school. It happens in college. I remember going to Purdue University, and Coach Tiller and Kyle Orton, you couldn't separate them. Their relationship with each other was different from every other relationship. It didn't say that Coach Tiller didn't love every other player. He didn't connect with every other player. It was just different. The relationship is different with the head coach, especially an offensive-minded head coach. We all understand Mike McCarthy is an offensive-minded head coach. So a lot of Aaron's success was with Mike McCarthy. So when that happened, that was a slap in the face to him. So Matt LaFleur was a guy who I know, he was an Aaron boy. When I was at the Houston Texans, he was literally the Aaron boy. Cool dude, so cool, mad cool. Learned a lot from under Coach Kubiak. He learned a lot. And then from after he left Coach Kubiak, he ended up he was under the I don't know why I'm name it to my tongue, the 49ers head coach. He was under him for a while.
Shanahan.
Who said it again?
Shanahan.
Oh yeah, Shanahan, sorry. So they were all there under Kubiak in Houston when I was there. Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, and they were learning from under Coach Kubiak. So I look at all of this, and LaFleur, goes to Tennessee, is offensive coordinator with Tennessee, does some good things, changes some, changes their offense and does some good things with them, and he ended up being the head coach for the Green Bay Packers. Well, guys, when head coaches come in, especially offensive-minded head coaches, when they come in to organizations, they want to bring in their guy, the guy that they think is the next big thing with what they're trying to do. I have no idea how Matt LaFleur thought Aaron Rodgers couldn't do what he wanted to do. That blew my mind when they drafted Jordan Love. That blew my mind. That's a slap in the face of the quarterback. And I look at that and I say, okay, well, yeah, Aaron signed that deal under Mike McCarthy, right? McCarthy. But he's stuck with this head coach. Yo, if they came back to offer you a contract to make you the highest paid, like if you don't want to be whatever, request a trade. Request a trade and leave. But to not be there, I mean, it's going to be, yes, he's played with some of these guys. He's played with these guys for a long time. But I still believe these other players are trying to get paid. Adams is he's coming into a contract here, if I'm not mistaken. He wants to get paid.
Well, see, to me, the other interesting thing there is, and so I read online, there was an old GM that was saying, like, people don't like Rodgers in the organization, this and that. But I remember seeing a couple months ago, like, you're right, Devontae Adams is coming into a contract year. He was like, he might not come back. If they don't fix things with Rodgers, Adams was like, I might not come back. So to me, I think that shows that, one, whoever that ex-GM was is just wrong. And I mean, like, there are people in the organization players in the organization that see, like, they're not helping Aaron. He's making the team what it is, and I don't want to be here if he's not here.
Well, every player understands the importance of their quarterback. I truly believe that. We all understand how important a quarterback is. But I think what happened in the National Football League, I truly believe it's been, and I remember I was a part of the NFLPA as far as representing for the players and everything else, and being a player representative. And I mean, I look at this and I watch the swing of salaries and everything else happen with quarterbacks while I was playing. And I mean, I remember us as players, we like, yo, do y'all value us as well? And I mean, it's a huge argument, a big divide. It's a big divide when it comes to the pay, the way they pay quarterbacks and then the rest of the team. Yeah. It's a big divide. Do I think Mahomes is worth $500 million?
No.
I don't. I mean, yes, that he got his money. And one thing for players, for us, when we're in the locker room, when a guy is going through a contract dispute or whatever, we don't. You are not to comment about his contract dispute, right? We leave that alone because those are his pockets. And so, but I think on the outside looking in, and even I even thought this way when I played. I just look at this and I say, ownership and the way the league has turned. You allowed this. Ownership allowed this. The league, the Shield, allowed this. Because when you give players an opportunity, and the NFL is so different, but when you give players that type of money, you're giving them a voice, which every player should have a voice. But I'm going from the sense of, when players are involved with hiring of coaches, when players are involved with bringing in players, well, wait a minute. That's the general manager's job. That's the general manager's job. That's his scouting department's job. That's their job to do that. But now when you start taking in, okay, well, let me ask my quarterback who we want to hire or who we want to do whatever. Because I remember the Houston Texans was potentially trying to do it with Deshaun Jackson or Deshaun Watson and bringing in the head coach. Like, when you start doing that and then you turn around and give them $140 million, you are creating a monster here. And we've created this monster. We have. And I truly believe Aaron Rodgers, he has every right to feel like they insulted him. But I truly believe they tried to fix it. And I mean, whether we like it or not, we all know money doesn't make you happy. Aaron Rodgers got a lot of money. He got a lot of money. They try to throw more money at him to show him, yo, bro, we want you here for the long haul. But he's like, no, I'm pissed. I'm angry. I'm not showing up. And so is he good enough to be away from the facility and come in right before the preseason and everything else? Yeah, he's good enough to do it. But what about everybody else around him that haven't been playing with him? What does that look like? What does that look like for them? What does that look like for Adams, where he's looking at a contract year, and if Aaron end up, because he's missed those reps and those drops, Those reps are important for every position. Those reps in OTAs, those reps in mini camps, those reps in training camp, those reps are important for the body. Our body is so specific to movements. And when you don't take those movements, or even if you take those movements, but you're not taking them at the speed that you should be taking them in, because the timing of the routes and the timing of the play and the movement with everybody, all 11, one of 11, that's hard. And that's why we see with a lot of players when they hold out and they not coming in, and then they come in at the last second, what usually happens? I tell a lot of people, if you got them on your fantasy team, you better take them off, because that's a blown ACL, a ruptured Achilles waiting to happen. Why? Because these guys don't train at top speed like they should. They can't. Some of them can't train like that. And then a lot of trainers don't know how to take them through things like that. Why? Because they ain't never been there. They don't know what to do. So let's just go take a couple drops, 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop. All right, roll out. All right, well, what does that look like? Where is the speed behind all of that? Those reps are important. But more importantly, the other 10 players that are counting on him. I don't believe, you tell me what you think, but I don't believe Jordan Love is ready to take an NFL snap.
Oh.
I mean, this Joker was in games where he was a healthy scratch to be a backup. So, I mean, we're about to get ready to this is what Adams and other cats that's on that offense and defense. I mean, the defense looking at, we need Rodgers. they want Rodgers. Why?
I don't want to be on the field the whole game.
Right. Those are reps they're going to have to take. So, I mean, it's crazy. This thing is deep. It's deep. Emotions, feelings are hurt. People are pissed. And if they don't come together soon, oh my gosh. And I mean, shoot, we a week or so away from training camp. We're a week or so away from training camp. These reps are important. And how many preseason games we got?
I know they changed it this year.
I believe it's 2.
Yeah, 2, 3, something like that. 4. It might be 3, and then I think Dallas has 4 because they play the Hall of Fame game.
Okay,
something like that.
But we got to look at this. Those are important. These are important reps. So for everybody that's for Aaron Rodgers and they, oh man, Aaron need to stay gone. Like, you know, they need to trade him. Okay, if you're gonna trade, make a trade. Everybody need to know. The other players need to know what the crap is going on. Because if I'm there, I'm looking like, what in the hell is going on? What are we doing? Like, our offense is going to look different. With a new man under center, our offense is going to be different. Mm-hmm. It's not going to fire the same. Those balls not going to come in the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jordan Love, if he end up playing, and he might end up having chemistry with another receiver and not Adams. So now, potentially, you can lose 2 guys or have 2 pissed off players. You just don't know. And we're speculating, but at the same time, I'm going off of, I done been in that locker room. I done been in those meeting rooms. I done seen offensive players fighting amongst each other. I done watched players get in fist fights with each other in practice. Fist fights on the sideline. I done watched it. I done heard all of that stuff. This, to me, it's not a good look for the Packers. I mean, we all know the Packers as a clean-cut organization. Small market, fans love their team. We know them as that. They've had Brett Favre. They had Starr at quarterback, Brett Favre. They've had some great dudes under center. Aaron Rodgers, he's a great quarterback, Hall of Famer. No question. No question. And we're watching this happen in front of us. Now, if this was which they're Las Vegas, but if this Oakland, when they were in Oakland, we used to that. We used to the Oakland Raiders. I mean, people being crazy and this and that. We used to that. This right here, we're not used to. We're not, man. And I mean, that's just that's just how I feel. Like that's my opinion, but that's coming from me being in that building and seeing this. I was on 4 teams. I watched it. I mean, being here in Tennessee, we ain't ever have a great quarterback. I mean, we didn't. So I mean, shoot, the relationship between the quarterback and the head coach was just they were cool. I mean, man, freaking A, we went out at games hoping the quarterback didn't fumble the snap or throw an interception, or that's for another episode. But I watched it. I watched success in Baltimore with Joe Flacco. I watched a quarterback just come along. Matt Schaub in Houston. In Kansas City. We had Trent Green.
Trent Green.
Yeah, we had Trent Green. Trent Green was a good player, but I mean, a lot of stuff went wrong in Kansas City. Herm Edwards didn't have the power everybody thought he had. He didn't. He didn't have it. Carl Peterson had all the power. Gunther Cunningham had more power than Coach Edwards. But whatever. We can go. We gonna talk. We gonna talk.
Nobody knows who you're talking about. There.
Exactly. Yeah, we gonna talk about some deep stuff here, man. I can't wait to tell y'all. I'm gonna unload some stories on y'all, and it's gonna be laughter. It's gonna be people gonna be shocked, but that's what it is. That's what it is, man. Did I hit it? Or you got something else to talk about? As far as Aaron Rodgers?
No, I mean I agree. It's definitely important. It's gonna look bad. It looks bad right now. I guess the only difference is I think that he has the right to not be there just because of where I view his level of play and how badly they've treated him. Not in terms of money, but in terms of giving him the ability to win a Super Bowl.
So you're saying
you're
okay with him not being there, being upset?
Yeah.
I'm saying understand.
I think it's okay if he doesn't plan on coming in at the last second and playing the season.
Well, we're 1 week away from training camp.
I know. But I just saw a couple of days ago, he said it in an interview. He's like, yeah, I'll figure it out in a couple of weeks. So, to me, that's like preseason starting. So then that's a little different. Then I would say he shouldn't do that. But if he really wants to win and he really just wants out of there because of how they've treated him and he doesn't plan on ever playing for the Packers again, then I am okay with what he's doing.
I was ready to end, but we gotta look at that. If you're okay with that, we gotta look at what does that look like for the head coach and Aaron. Because if you believe that Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur hasn't clashed, you crazy. I bet
no,
you.
I'm saying
they argue like no other behind.
I'm sure
doors.
they do, and I'm sure Jordan Love was Matt LaFleur's guy, which is just ridiculous to me that as a new and like Matt LaFleur coming in as a first-time head coach with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback is a blessing.
Right.
And then
you ride that.
Now and now we don't know if he pushed for Jordan Love, like, oh, that I want him. But we can assume that Jordan Love was the guy that he wanted. Because there's not a lot of people that would, one, have the power to make a decision to go get Jordan Love, or two, be in a position where it doesn't even make any sense for somebody who had been in the organization winning with Aaron Rodgers to say, let's go draft Jordan Love. He's our next guy.
Right.
Like, to me, that was 100% Matt LaFleur, and that's just stupid.
I agree.
Like, first-time head coach, and you get Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, and you just want to throw it away. And with Aaron Rodgers being a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, I that's where I think it's okay with what he's doing, as long as he doesn't actually plan on coming back to play for the Packers. Like, I think he has to stick with where he's at and be like, I'm done. Like, that's it. I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I wish he would have shown up. I wish he would have. Unless him and the receivers and the running backs having some private workout sessions where they're going full speed, going over plays.
Aaron Rodgers is out playing golf.
Hey, I would hope that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's fair for the other players, for the offensive line, because I mean, with that one player making that decision of not being there, that changes the way
And I mean,
everybody
it
works.
definitely changes the team, and it definitely hurts the team, which is why I only agree with it if he's not coming back for sure.
Okay.
If he's trying to come back to start the season, but like he's just trying to prove a point, be like, I'm not showing up, I can do whatever I want, then yeah, probably not the way to go, because you're gonna have a rough season. And it's not just gonna be a rough season for you. It is gonna be a rough season for everybody that had to deal with Jordan Love being their number one quarterback the entire offseason and having everything be different. Because I guarantee they're not running the same offense right now with Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur is probably looking at this like, okay, now I get to run the team that I wanted because I have the quarterback that I wanted. He's probably sitting there hoping that Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back.
He better. He can say whatever he want to say, but he better be praying Aaron Rodgers come back, because that's the only way he's going to have, I believe, consistent success in the National Football League under the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah,
So,
I think we could be seeing a head coaching change there. Pretty soon. Like, I don't know, like 9 months, 9 months from now.
well, hey, we'll see, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Make sure you tune in next time. Take it easy. Peace out.